All right, BJ, there's your combine. Get to work. See you about June. Morning! Oh, it feels good to walk into a warm test shack. Leaving this heater on's been the best move of the harvest so far. So this is the corn from last night we finished up. After we helped get the neighbor's combine unstuck, it was pretty late. We were all covered in mud and we went home. So if you missed yesterday's video, it was pretty exciting. We had a demo New Holland tractor and Krause accelerator down. Did that, ran some corn, unplugged a leg, used the grain vac for the first time, and then, yeah, neighbor called and had his combine stuck, so had to yank them out. Check that video out if you haven't. All right, all the trucks are pretty well dumped. BJ had just a smidge on the grain cart, so once he gets it dumped, it'll be good there. Just about burnt the frost off enough to maybe make a tillage pass. Like I said, I want to compare that Krause accelerator demo with our Turbo Max and corn stalks and bean stubble. I'm not going to do a lot, just really want to make a pass. Got the corn cooker fired up. After talking with Boss Man, we're going to move some combines first, let it dry out a little bit more. You can still run right now, the Turbo Max, but there is quite a bit of moisture on the stalks. It's not going to be the most accurate representation compared to how we'll usually be running it. This ground is plenty wet too. But I just want to do it down and back. Yeah, we've been putting it off, but we're definitely doing beans today. Full. Wet bin is full. So the dryer's running. We didn't run last night, we ran out of gas. We got this bin transferring because it's still fairly full. So we're going to let that thing transfer for a good while and let some corn dry. Frozen corn dust. You guys can't see it, but we've transferred about 15,000 bushel. We're probably 2 rings down right now. That'll hold about another 8 comfortably. So yeah, we got enough to let it dry for a while. We're gonna keep transferring though, and that way we can let it dry all day. So I've had quite a few questions and comments on this little Massey Ferguson baby combine. This is Sea Consultants' plot combine. Sea Consultants has always had a test plot here, and this is what they run them with. So this little thing is designed to basically do these little block plots. That's why it's got this little tiny baby head. The amount of people that used to ask me why we have a small combine, like just local people, was always pretty comical because we'd never get done with that thing. We would need a fleet of them. But yeah, this is the blocks they do. I mean, it's in like a 20-foot strip. He'll stop, let the combine clear out, do another 20-foot strip. We just missed a really good cold start, but we're moving the kitty cat to cloths up to the grain bins. Because we're going to switch over to beans, we're going to run some beans right beside our new grain system. As goofy as this sounds, we're going to take the gleaner over to the old grain system, run like 3 loads of corn, fill up the holding bin, and then we're going to start running beans with both combines. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. Gotta do what you gotta do. Manual ladder. So Dad's behind me in the gleaner. He's got quite the convoy, so anyone traveling down our little narrow road is going to get quite the surprise. But we have BJ ahead of us in the pickup truck with his flashers on. You just got to make sure you get the traffic stopped, because there's just nowhere to go on this road. Alright, time to go play with some tillage tools. I got a feeling they didn't want anyone taking that off. Now I would imagine that this tractor's been to a couple fairs or stuff like that, maybe the Farm Science Review. And for whatever reason, kids seem to love stealing gas caps and def caps. I don't know why. Warm up for a second, grid heater. I'm sure it's a little bit cold. But she's purring like a kitten. What'd I do? really knock out some acres if we had both these going, but we're not going to. We're going to make a straight pass, BJ, and I'm going to come back and skip a pass, and BJ's going to fill it in. We're going to walk through, see if we can see much of a difference. He is setting that Turbomax to 5-degree angle, going about as deep as this thing is going, and yeah, we should be pretty even there. But let's get to it. Or as they say, pitter patter, let's get at her, or something along those lines. Heck, I don't know. So like I say, just trying to see how this does in beans. Now this field's very rough. If this thing's going to bounce, it would be in here. This field's plenty wet too. Now the new Holland side of the house, I didn't even notice these gigantic lights yesterday, but now that I've seen them, I can't unsee them. They're like right in the way. But I'm betting they're very bright though. Now one thing to keep in mind, our Turbomax is, probably 8 years old, 9 years old, so I mean it has some acres on it. Now those blades aren't completely wore out, they are still within spec, but these blades are brand new, so the blades, you know, they're a little bit different. But you can look at that thing bounce already. I just don't see any visible waves yet, but we'll walk out there and check it out. So I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera, but I can kind of see where the Turbomax is chattering through there a little bit. Over here on this one, this was the pass that I did. Now it doesn't look like my wing was all the way in the ground right here. I'm having trouble getting my constant timer to stay on this, so I might not have had my pressure all the way up. But I don't see the bouncing. I don't know. We'll see on the next pass. See if BJ notices. Like I say, it's not very pronounced. It's not near like it was with the wheat, but you can still see it a little bit down through that pass. So this is the Turbomax pass. And right up there is where I can see the bouncing. Right through here it looks fine. So part of that could just be the field's rough, but the field was also rough on the Kraus pass and it didn't really bounce as much. Now, in my opinion, part of that is just the wheelbase is longer on that machine. And it's a different tractor. I mean, that tractor could be bouncing. That tractor is not power hopping, I can tell you that. It has plenty of power. That could be a tire pressure thing, but it shouldn't be that pronounced. The Kraus rep said this, so keep this in mind. This is the selling point, I'm sure, but he said think of a road grader. They are a longer wheelbase so they can maintain a level plane better. Kind of makes sense, but like I say, that's probably a selling point or a talking point they've been, you know, taught to say. Now 5 degrees on the accelerator does appear to be maybe more aggressive than 5 degrees on the Turbomax. And there's really not a whole lot of residue. I mean, this is bean stubble though. So. Okay, so I can see the divots right here. I mean, here's a divot, and here's a high spot. Here's a divot, and here's a high spot. There's a divot, and there's a high spot. And it's not the case over here. And that's why we were doing this. That accelerator might not leave this farm. It might stay here for a while. It might have just earned its way onto the Brown Farms balance sheet. Now, I'm not going to say anything to BJ. Let's see what he says. Have him walk through there and take a look. Walk out there and tell me what you think.
From up there, I can see the difference.
Okay, so can I.
I mean, yeah, from the cab, I can tell.
I mean, I can see it right here.
Let me tell you all the things that I don't like about that thing, and maybe it's just the way ours is set up, and maybe it just needs adjusted. It seems like you can see every tire track, every weight-bearing track on the machine, not the tractor. Like the 4 center wheels.
Yeah.
It seems like you can always see that, especially when it's a little bit damp like it is right now. You can see the ridges at the seat, at the hinges of the wings. Yep. You ever noticed that? Yep. And I know that Dad, when he's complaining about how our field looks rough, that's one of the things he's seeing. I don't see that with this. I don't know. I was pulling 10.5 until you get to the road there.
Okay, so I was going 10 till we get to that.
Okay.
So what he's talking about, there's a dividing line where there used to be an asphalt road through this field.
And then I slowed down to 8.5.
Okay, I think this second pass here I was probably only going 9 because I don't think I forgot to shift it
Yeah,
up.
I left it at 8.5 because anytime you shift in that thing, it will bump a swale.
Cool. Like just walking through here, you can definitely tell a difference, I think. So now we're gonna drive across the road, make it down and back in the corn stalks and see what we can see. BJ's gonna run the New Holland. I'm gonna swap him. So I'm pretty positive that Great Plains does have a different version of the Turbo Max now that is a little bit longer wheelbase and is supposed to bounce a little less. But I mean, we can go demo one of those, we're demoing one of these. So in my opinion, a demo goes a long way. You really get to see what you're buying. I don't know anyone running one of those Great Plains. They may be a great machine. I don't have any experience with one whatsoever. There are a few of these accelerators in the neighborhood, and pretty much everybody I know that has one really likes them. So these corn stalks are a little fresher than the ones we did yesterday, so they should be a little bit tougher to cut up. Normally, if you do fresh cut corn stalks, you're really not going to do a whole lot. You're kind of just crimping them and busting them up a little bit, maybe throwing some dirt on them, but they're still going to be pretty visible. So let's see what this thing's doing. Now keep in mind it is set pretty aggressive for a spring application. It's kind of what we're after. So it does seem like BJ didn't have the down pressure on the wings. You can see where it's not quite as deep on the wing as it is in the center. I just tried to call him. Apparently I don't have his phone on him, but I do need him to bump that down to get a really more accurate comparison. I would say that we're just not really far in the ground right here because the wings are bleeding up. You're supposed to run constant down pressure on your wings. He's not really got her wound up there, but definitely cutting his stalks up well. Now everybody has a different opinion of well. Some people don't want it to throw any dirt. Some people want a little bit of dirt. Some people want a lot of dirt. In the fall, I'm okay with a little bit more dirt. In the spring, I don't want it to throw this much dirt, which is why I would adjust the angle of those blades back to 0 or 1 degree. I wouldn't throw that much. See, now that I think about it, I think it goes to 1 degree. I don't think it goes to 0 degrees. Oh, let's grab the big horse. Or the big deer. I guess it's not a horse, it's a deer. Technically, if we wanted a horse, we'd have to get a Fendt. So if you ever look, Fendt's logo is a horse. One thing's for sure, it's John Deere, it's loud. But man, it's got the power. We got all the bunnies. Yeah, let's walk out here and see how they did. Hot dang, meal wagon delivered lunch. Now it's time to feed. So in the corn stalks, the divots were still, like the waves were still there. The stalks kind of hide them a little bit, but it's definitely still bouncing, the Turbo Max, and the accelerator, you just didn't see it quite as much. So. What? Wait till you start eating.
I ain't George.
I think George.
I'm gonna start eating.
Yeah. Now that is our end to harvest celebratory bottle. We're going to come in here, update the board, and we ain't leaving until the bottle's going.
Then cats can be walking all for cricket.
So our neighbor that we pulled out, he brought us Timmy's this morning. I'm calling the fritter. Alright, now we're going to go shell some corn. And by the time we get done with that, the beans should be in pretty good shape, or as dry as they're going to get today. Back over here to the Stone Ages. So we're going to use the other 1038 and the other grain cart. That way we just have, you know, less stuff to move. Because we're going to eventually be right back where we just left from. So if you're new to the channel, this is our older grain system. And over here we fight water all the time. The first thing we gotta do is vacuum some water out. And we fight rats. So we do have a soap pump in here. It pumped a good bit of it out, but there's just a little bit of water down on the bottom. Didn't get in the legs, so that's good. We better check in here. First you gotta knock, let the rats know you're coming. Give them one of those so that they get off the shelf. And then you open it and see how many you count. Okay, there's no water in here. Rat crap everywhere. Just a bunch of poop. Yeah, go for it. So this dryer has been on hold since the last time we were over here. We didn't really want to let it run while that pit was filling full of water, so I'm gonna take it off hold. Everything is set to go to the bin we want it going to. And I'd say this corn we're gonna go run, it's gonna have to go through the dryer, which is kind of why we're doing it. Dad and BJ are saddling up, and we'll take a semi down there. Like I said, we're only gonna do a couple loads, and then we're gonna go do beans. So I might as well go hang out and watch the combine run down there. Man, that one's clean. Probably because it hasn't been used since like the second day of harvest. Yeah, so we're going to open up this field just a little bit. This is 28 acres here. Like I said, we're not going to do it all just because we're not going to have the wet bin capacity. I'm sure this corn's probably 20% or better. One good thing we got going on is next week it's supposed to be in the 70s, so that should dry this corn down. This isn't really a good drying week where it's only getting just you know, right around 40 degrees, but next week I'd say that corn will dry a point or two, and you know, closer we can get it to 15, the quicker we can dry it and get in the bin. Good news is the cucumber here got frosty. So there's some of the cucumber. This is burr cucumber, folks, not like pickles, but it got frosty and never really pulled that corn down. But oh, you know, we're gonna have to manage this a little different. Otherwise, it's going to get, you know, progressively worse every year. Anything to add there?
There ain't no salad fixings out there. That's the dirty cucumber.
Yes, it's the dirty cucumber.
Combine's turning black.
So we're going to unload this truck. Dad and BJ are loading the grain cart. Probably just going to leave that grain cart over here loaded. One of us will come over here and dump it in the morning. Right now we've got good weather for bean running, so we want to take advantage of that and go run some beans.
In fact, maybe we'll come over here and run corn first thing in the morning. Who knows?
So I just talked to Dad, and we might have a major problem. So it's like the gleaner or something broke in the rear end. So I don't know. On the way to find out. This might get expensive, but it's under warranty, so it should. Might cost time though. Well, the good news is it's not the final drives. The bad news is combine still doesn't move. Why'd you break it? I'd call it operator error. Yep. All right, so update. We've got the cloths out. It was still hooked to the corn head. We were going to switch to beans. Today we are just going to run corn. With this delay, by the time we get switched to beans, we're only going to get run beans for about an hour. So we're going to, when the dryer's caught up now, we're going to fill these holding bins, fill all the trucks. And the plan is first thing in the morning we're going to switch over. I've said that 2 days now. I think we're going to switch over. I think the transmission's out of that gleaner. Someone from Ohio Ag is on the way down now. We have a 4-year warranty with that combine, and I'm really, really glad we do, because this isn't going to cost us a dime. Okay, so they're just about to get started. I am going to run over to the other grain bins. My coat is over there. We're going to be harvesting here till after dark. It's going to get cold. And it's either now or never. Oh yeah, we bought it. So this is ours now. And that Turbo Max will be for sale at Apple Farm Service in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. So, yep, this is ours. Just signed the papers a little bit ago. So we were able to come to a deal. I really like the job it was doing, if you couldn't tell earlier. So, but anyways, we gotta get back to harvesting. So Ohio Ag just left, and it's not the transmission that's out of the gleaner, which is great. I'll try to tell you what I was just told. There's a transmission shaft, a shaft coming out of transmission, a coupler, and then a hydraulic pump shaft. Basically, the splines either on the coupler or on the hydraulic pump shaft stripped out and then watered out the other one. So we need a new coupler that goes between those two shafts, the transmission shaft and the hydraulic pump, and we also need a new shaft, but I'm guessing a whole new hydraulic pump. I'm guessing they can't just replace that shaft. Still better than transmission. Sounds like it's still a quicker fix than transmission. Just hopefully finding the parts will be easy. Only thing worries me, normally this probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. We'd have parts overnighted and be up and going before the end of the weekend. But COVID. Times like this, I'm glad we have two combines, because we are still sending it. Kales! Kayla's dropping off dinner. That's a good woman right there. You look like the cure to a bad day. Hi, kiddos. Now that's a burger. And that's how fries should look. Yeah, unloading. Well, actually, we're unloading. So the dryer's up. Got to keep it going so we can keep running. It's a balancing act. You got to keep the dryer going, but you also got to keep your trucks emptying. So we're running the dryer, letting it dump while we move a truck down. Well, folks, we're full. So Dad just came up, BJ brought the cart up. We got one more truck down there. I think I have enough room to finish dumping this last truck, but that's it. So, is what it is. All right, I had to come over to the other grain setup. We got a few tractors to put up. We're gonna shut this dryer off. We're not gonna run corn tomorrow. And it's probably, if we did, it's dried enough corn. That way no one has to check it tonight. Oh, she's got some bright lights. So we put tiger lights on this thing, Ref. We got it. Very bright. They light the hoop barn up well. It's a really expensive lighting system, though, for a barn. I haven't seen the lights on the New Holland yet. Oh, it's got some bright ones. Especially some backlights. Definitely got to put the accelerator up. That's ours. But we'll put their tractor up, too. So if anyone's interested in a tractor, and you're in Southern Ohio, Apple and Courthouse has a, I believe they said it's a 2020 leftover. So if you're looking for a 410 horsepower tractor, you might want to check it out. Right now, just finding a tractor is kind of difficult. Well, guys, that's it for this one. You know, it wasn't the greatest day, but we ended up salvaging it. We ended up getting some stuff done, and we bought a nice new piece of tillage equipment. So all in all, not a terrible day. Always could have been worse, so no one got hurt, and we get a farm another day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up the video, and we'll see you in the next one.